Alright, hello everyone. Today we're playing Survival Puzzle Rush, and we're going to go for the record. I think mine's 35 or 36. I'm not that great at Puzzle Rush, but we're going to use this as a way to practice puzzles, and so you can learn how to do easier puzzles all the way up to more intermediate and advanced level puzzles. So if we start here, we can see that there's a bishop staring at the square, along with the rook, so we can deliver checkmate along this back rank. So in this case, the king's totally cut off. He has nowhere to move, and he has no other moves except to push his pawns. But we also have a pawn here that's ready to come deliver checkmate. So if we just push, we're able to make it faster. He can promote, but we can deliver checkmate. So we have a rook and a queen. They're creating battery here on this king, and if we deliver a check here, he has no escape, so that can be checkmate. So we have two rooks. We see one's cutting off this king totally, and the other one has nowhere to go right now. He only has up and down. So we give this check here with this rook. He's totally cut off as a ladder mate. So in this position, the puzzle person took the bishop for some reason. Now we have a queen staring at a free checkmate there. So we have a knight here. It's controlling both of these squares, and we also have a queen along this diagonal. So we deliver this check here. The king's trapped and can't get out. Again, we have another battery. We have a bishop and a queen. They're staring at this pawn right here, and so we give this check here. That's checkmate. So in this position, the king is totally cut off. He only has this diagonal to escape. So if we delivered this check here, it's checkmate because he has nowhere to go. So in this position, they only have a rook defending the back rank. So we give this check here first, and then we can sacrifice the queen because there is only one defender, and then we can deliver checkmate with the rook. Again, we have a king that's cut off. His only escape square is here. So we have the knight here in the center controlling these squares. So if we bring the queen, it cuts off the king totally from escaping. So in this position, you can see that the king is very cornered. He only has a couple squares here. So we give this check first with the pawn, brings him to the back rank. Now he has nowhere to go except for here. We give a check with the rook, and then we can take his, and that's checkmate on the back rank. So we can see here that we have a rook cutting off this file. We have a queen here ready to go in. And the king only has two squares right now. He has this one and this one. So we give the check here with the queen. He's cut off unless he blocks, and he would have gone to the corner, and then we can bring the rook to deliver checkmate. So we can see here the rook is cutting off the file totally. So we can give this check first with the bishop as an in-between move because he has to go this way. He can't go forward because of the rook. So he goes back, he can block, and then we can bring the rook to the back rank for checkmate. So here we can see that there's a queen staring at each other. It's pinned right now. And that the king can only go down or to the side. So we give this check here with the rook. He's not able to go down. He's not able to go to the side. So he has to go back further into his area with his other rook. And that means we can take the queen because he's not defending it anymore. And that's checkmate. Okay, so as we can see here, we have a bunch of stuff happening. We have a battery here. We have a queen. It's not looking at a whole lot. We have bishops and rooks that are trapped right now. We have a knight, but we can see that with this knight, we can give a check here, and he can't take because it's pinned. So we give a check here first, and then we want to win this queen, but we don't want to get our queen taken first immediately, I'm pretty sure. Do we take? Because if we takes, and then take, and then does it want me to just escape with the knight? Oh no, and then we can give this check here because it's a fork, and we win a bishop at the end of it. Alright, so here the king, we can see is kind of cornered. He doesn't have any squares really except for here or back, and the rook can't go anywhere up to defend. So we give this check here. The king's totally cut off from any escape, and he's stuck in the corner. Alright, so we can see we have rooks staring at each other. This rook's not defending it. So we can take, he can defend, but he can't defend this check now from the diagonal. And now we can take the rook and deliver checkmate. Okay, so we have a queen staring here at this rook. We have this rook cutting off this second rank here, and we have another rook here cutting off the file. So what you want to think here is, can I sacrifice this queen? So if he takes, and we give a check here, he can't go anywhere out, and he's stuck along this back rank. The only thing he can do is block, and then we can take and deliver checkmate. So we take, we give a check, He blocks, we take, and it's checkmate. So we can see here that we have a queen. It's staring right here, and this king would be trapped, except there is a rook. So we can back up, but we also have a rook of our own staring at that same square. So we give a check here, he would block, and then we could take. So in this position, we have a king here. We have a check here with the knight. So if we check here, he has to go here. We can give a check here, and then I think we're going to win the rook as opposed to deliver a checkmate. So we can check here with the knight. He goes down. The only check left we have is here. And then we can take the rook because there is no checkmate. There's no other forceful checks. So we can take the rook here and just win the rook. Okay, so in this position, again, we kind of have the same idea. We have a knight here ready to jump in and give a check, but it's pinned by the queen, so it's not able to get taken. It also cuts off the escape square here. So we check here with the knight. It gets taken by the other side, but remember that we also have a bishop here. So now we have a battery here pointing at this square. We can deliver checkmate. So here, we want to bring the king closer. So if you ever see a king start running towards yours, you usually want to give checks to bring it closer to your own. So we give this check here. He could only go here, and then you would have been delivering checkmate with a pawn because he would have been going closer. Sometimes these puzzles don't let you finish them for some reason. I wish they would. That would be nicer. So here we have no immediate checks. We have no immediate threats. We have a queen here pointing at this diagonal. We have bishop here. We have this knight ready to jump in. Bishop here. The queen only has one out, and it's over here. These pieces are all kind of stuck except for the bishop. But what does it want us to do here? So I think it's something to do with this, but I'm not sure how to defend it. Maybe we also have this attack on the queen. We have this attack on the queen and it is defended. So it's probably something like this, yeah. And then it wants me to do this check here because now there's a fork. Because the queen backed up, it stopped defending this pawn. There's a fork and you can win the rook. So here there's a common idea. There's an open check here. You think they can just block with the pawn, but they can't because if they block, you can take with the knight and it leaves the rook undefended in the corner. So here we have this check. We have another checks. We have this check, he can block. But then, so you have check, block, and then the queen can't really get in. This check, maybe we go here. So I think maybe, no, because then it leaves this undefended. We go here first. We're staring at this square. It's protected, but it can just be taken. So we have this option, blocks. We can go here, but then we can't really get in. And there's nowhere else to give another check here. Go here. There's some longer setups, so you can bring the rook, bring the queen, but those are too long, I think. This check is the only one I can see. That means something. That or bring the rook here. Maybe bring the rook here and then give this check. No, it's not. So I actually want to see what the answer was to that. So it's the knight first, actually. It wants me to sacrifice, right? And then you can pin here. And then he's forced to take. Yes, I missed that. All right, so we have a rook here staring. It's protected by this pawn, and the pawn's protected so the king can't take. So you'd assume this would be our first check. He could go here. If he does, I take. So if he goes, so if he goes anywhere, he can't go here. Can't go anywhere in this file, so he has to go here. And then we can give another check to win the queen. Does it want us to do another check first? I think we just take. And then we can push the pawn and win the endgame. So we have a queen here staring at the back rank. We also have a bishop and a queen staring at this unprotected pawn. So if we give this check here first, then if we give this check, he can block. No, yeah, if we give this check, he can block, but then we're still staring at that square. So we give check, block, and it's protected by our bishop, so we can take. So this is a free bishop, but is there anything better? This knight is protected. We can give a check here with the pawn. It'll lead the king out. We can give more checks. I think that's it. So you look for a checking sequence. Does it lead to a mate? If we give this check here, he can't go here. So check, Can't go here, 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 or take. And that's the king totally cut off, so that's mate. So we have a bishop blocking the line of sight of our knight. We have a check here. It would end up being a trade. But you can see there that this is a check, and it also attacks this bishop. So if this bishop wasn't here, but instead we take, and it puts the rook there, it's actually a fork, and then we can win the rook afterwards as well. So we can see again here, there's a pawn that's unprotected. We can give a check with the queen, and the king's totally cut off from the edge. I'm not sure why that's a 1600 puzzle, but so we have a couple checks here. If we have a check here, the king kind of just runs. We have another check here, and it cuts off this square instead, so he has to go forward. So that might be it. So if you have a check here, he can't go here. He has to go either here, here, so one of these, and then can we give another check? I think this is our first check, because he can't go here. It brings him into the center somehow, because otherwise everything's just going to get traded. I think this is the first check, so he goes back. So then we can take, because he has no escape square here, except for here, and then I would have delivered to either mate or winning position here. So you can see that we have a pawn staring right here. So an immediate attack would be to bring our queen right here and threaten checkmate. And because he doesn't have any immediate checks that are protected, it's an unstoppable mate basically. He can check, he can sacrifice, but he's going to get mated. So we can see that we're about to get checkmated. So basically we have to give a check. We can see that there's a pawn here, but there's a rook here, so it's not attacking the king. So can we sacrifice the rook? If we go to h2, takes, we can take with check here. He has to go back, and we can see that this is checkmate on this square. So we can take, check, and checkmate there. So we have a bishop here not doing much. We have a rook staring at this bishop, which is protected by two things. There's a queen staring at each other. So if we take, it's just a trade. If we go here, if we take, we can pin the bishop to the king, but then he can just take, and I just lose a bishop then. Instead, I don't think trading. Is trading the right option here? So if we sacrifice and he takes the queen, we give this check, give a check here, and then I don't think that's anything because he can just move his king. So maybe we have to trade the queens first? I'm not sure. So if take, we pin, it doesn't do much because this is a protected rook. If take, oh, so I see. So take, we sacrifice the rook, he's going to take with the rook, and then we can pin it. So we take here, and then we can pin the rook, and then we can win the rook. That's what it is. Okay, so we have a pawn here attacking our rook. We have a queen staring over here. Do we want to keep this rook? Do we want to bring the knight? Do we want to keep this rook and then go for a mate here? I think that's too slow. If we just move it and then bring the queen, it's too slow because you can just defend somehow. So we don't have any immediate checks other than this one, which loses the queen. Same with this one. So if we sacrifice the rook, and he doesn't take, he ignores it, it's checkmate. So take. I think we bring this rook then, and then deliver mate like this. I think it's that. So if take, check, and he goes back, I can deliver checkmate here. But if take, check, and he moves this way, I think there's a mating pattern here somehow. I'm going to just do it. Hopefully this is right. Yeah, it is. So it doesn't even let you finish the puzzle. But there was some sort of mating pattern there, I think. So we see that the rooks are protecting each other. We want to bring the king closer to our king. So we give this check here. It brings him down, and it would have been checkmate, I think. Or it would have been mate right away. So we see we have a couple checks here. If we give this check, then he can just go backwards. He can get out. But if we give this check here, or this check, no, this check, we can go here, and then we give check here. He can't go back. He has to go here, and then we can give this check, and it's checkmate here. So check, check, force him back into the corner, and then checkmate. So we're at 36, which I think is my highest. So we're going to keep going and see how far we can get. See how many more puzzles we can do. So if we double our rooks here, we are threatening to take this bishop and win it, as well as attack the rooks. So I think we're just going to double, because if he blocks, I just take. And he doesn't have any way to defend with his other rook, because it's blocked by his knight. And we don't want to bring our knight, it's just a trade. So this is the immediate threat of this, because we're looking to win this bishop, because he only has one defender. And we have two attackers. So we can take, and then take. All right. So we have a bishop here. We can see that we have a bishop staring at the square. We have some checks here along this diagonal. But what I see is there's a check here with the bishop. If he takes, there's a rook along this file. So we can bring our queen over to bring a check here, sorry. And then he has to go back or back, and then we can take for checkmate. So, no? I'm going to look at that quick. I must have missed something else. So, maybe it's this check first? No. Okay, so what's the piece? Oh, so it wants me to sacrifice instead first. Right, because if I check with the bishop, I went a little too quick there. If I take, he could just get out. But if I sacrifice, then I can give this check here, and he's forced back, and then it's checkmate. Right. All right, so we're on our last life. We're at 37. So if we give a check here, he has to come down. And then we get a check here. I think we take this knight first. So what was their first move? They took the knight. I think we have to take. I think we can do this in between because there's no checks. And he can't move his king because either way we're going to be doing this checkmating pattern. It also cuts the king off here. So I think we take. He has to take. Check. Check, and then we can take with check because it moves the king away from the defense of the rook, and then we can take. Okay. So if we sacrifice here, take, check, I can attack the queen, doesn't do much. So if we take, the king's a little stuck, but we don't really have an attack because we can't bring the rook here because he can take. And then if we play a waiting move, we're just going to get our queen taken. I think it's sacrificing the rook here somehow. I'm not sure if the puzzle will play the whole thing. But I think we take, and then bring the rook somehow, but we can't. Like, we can go here, but this pawn is still protected. But then he can also start giving these checks too. Not this one, but he can kind of get in. So what check do we give here? If it even is a check. I don't see any other move in between though, because we can't take. We can do this and attack the queen, but that's no good because ours is being attacked too. I think it's sacrificing. I don't see how, but I think that's the first move. Yeah. And then I assume I give this check. And then I can't give this check. I can give a check here and sack, but I can't take. Do I just give... No, I can't give this check. There's no more checks I can give where I can't get taken. Maybe I cut the queen off now with the rook. Because I can't take the knight. I can't give a check here or here. Can't go there. Maybe I cut the queen off. No, I don't. What check do I give? So that's our final one. Can't do any more. I'm just gonna find out what we do here quick. Okay, so take, check, and then So we do use the rook. Does it want me to just take? It does. Oh, because we can win the queen, right, if he takes. I just completely missed that. Wow. All right, well, we got 38, so I think that's my highest ever. So hopefully you guys found that interesting. Hopefully you learned something. You can practice your puzzles. You can see what the thought process is, how you can go through each one step by step. But hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.